laptop. Actually, the laptop was stolen, and just keep an eye out in case somebody looks like they're trying to steal your credit. And I remember thinking to myself, they don't want to make the pilot IDs the same as our Social Security numbers. Too much information in one place. Encryption, very useful stuff. Now, one other thing that I'd like to highlight on this page is the query processor. The query processor has been completely rewritten for 15. The very early days of 15, this created a few problems. You have the access to things like merge joins, hash joins, lots of new stuff going on for 15. With the advent of a rewritten optimizer, a couple of things happen. First, the optimizer is now doing a lot more work. Because the optimizer is doing a lot more work, we are going to either limit the amount of work the optimizer is doing. We have some set options that let us do that. Or we have to give the optimizer a little bit of help. One of the ways we give the optimizer a little bit of help is via larger statement cache. So one of the things you'll do when you upgrade to 15 is make sure you increase your procedure cache significantly, because a lot more goes on in procedure cache than previous releases. And then you're going to want to increase your statement cache. Statement cache was new in the late 12.5 and very important in 15, because when you have an ad hoc query, the server can take the information from the ad hoc query and store it in the statement cache, similar to the way it stores things in the data cache. It's a great performance enhancement. Now, when you do that, there's one other thing you're going to do. All the way at the bottom of this list says, or the bottom of the first column, it says literal parameterization. That literal parameterization is used in conjunction with the statement cache, and it basically says when you have a query that says select star from the table when the key is 1, or select star from the table when the key is 2, is that the same query? If you have the literal auto parameterization set to 1, it's the same query, and if not, it's not. I have had a couple of different customers in a couple of different scenarios do nothing but enable literal auto parameterization and make a lot of their ASE 15 performance issues go away, and also had one eliminate a rep server queue problem by enabling it, simply by reducing a lot of the work that's being done by the optimizer. So, a couple of quick tips. So, oops, can I go backwards? Here. So, topics today, we're going to talk about going to 15 from 12.5. I'll talk about some things that some folks have done that have been more successful than others. To put it simply, there are two total tips. One is plan everything, the other is test everything. I suspect that everybody is going to test everything anyway. Not everybody gets around to planning everything. When we do our upgrades, there tends to be two basic approaches to this. One is overkill, and by overkill I'm not being facetious or capricious or uncomplimentary. I like overkill. I, as a DBA, am a professional paranoid and proud of it. So when I am getting ready to do something like an upgrade from one to another, I am not only going to identify everything that I might need in order to make it successful, but I'm going to make sure everything gets tested seriously. I'm being reminded about my time limit. Okay, I can go on and on forever, and I will take things a little bit faster. So as we're going through this, plan and test, very important. So what do you need to plan? Trying to move forward. Not have control of the mouse? Okay, I'm getting there. Okay, ASE 15 is a significant upgrade. There's a lot of new features. The query processor is rewritten. You are going to want to make sure that you do some significant application testing with your new 15 environment. Because the optimizer has been rewritten, that means a lot of your queries are going to perform differently. Now, most of them should perform faster, particularly, and don't take this the wrong way, particularly the ones that haven't been written all that well. The cool thing about hash joins and merge joins is it's going to speed up the old reformatting and table scans that you were doing before, and merge joins are a very special join which will help improve your nested iteration joins, or your net loops joins, depending on how you're used to addressing those. The catch is the optimizer now has a couple of different things that it might try to optimize for. We can set it for OLTP environment. We can set it for a DSS environment, or we can set it for a mixed environment. So depending on whether you are mostly OLTP, mostly batch, mostly reporting, mostly you name it, the optimizer might take certain different assumptions. And remember, the optimizer that decides your initial locking scheme. So it may decide to more aggressively table lock in order to do scans, or more aggressively pick something which is going to speed things up. You don't want to make sure you test your application very thoroughly as you're going from point 1 to point 2, point A to point B. Next, document everything. You're going to want to take the time to collect everything that's going on in your system. You may find when you start looking that you really weren't aware of everything that's going on in your system. Once again, that's not intended as a dig. That's intended as a, oh, we found out that the application folks are also running this. We didn't even know they were doing that. Ah, good, I'm glad we found that out, because we're going to also make sure that all of the libraries are upgraded from 12.5 CTLib or ODBC or whatever to the most recent releases and recent versions, because that's how you get your efficiency. So, document steps the application developers and the DBAs are going to need prior to the migration. This includes listing all the environments. This includes identifying versions of what libraries are in use. This includes identifying the most recent versions of operating systems are on, what's supported, identify everything that's supported. Identify everything that's going to impact maintenance, procedures, monitoring scripts, third-party tools. A lot of people look at upgrade time as a good excuse to upgrade or migrate resources. There will frequently be a physical server upgrade or an operating system upgrade at the same time as an ASE 15 upgrade. My views on that are mixed. As a performance geek and a professional paranoid, I like to change only one thing at a time. However, if you're going to be running regression tests, it makes sense to run one set of regression tests instead of 3 if you're upgrading OS and hardware and software. Because it might take a little longer to figure out what's causing the performance problem. Is it the new SAM? Is the operating system? Is there some sort of kernel tweak we have to do in addition? Or is it something to do with the optimizer? You want to do your own testing on ASE 15 on the same box or a similar box, and then do a separate test later, or do your full regression test. Just one thing to think about. Which features of ASE we're expecting to adopt early. Make sure we test those thoroughly, identify any gotchas. Those 2 that I gave you, increase procedure cache, statement cache, and enable literal auto-parameterization, will be some of the best things that you're able to do and the quickest things that you're able to account for. Document the tools included in 15 that you use to identify, just document everything. Make list. So, quick note about SciSam. With 15, SciSam is a bit more aggressive. There is now a version 2 of the SciSam technology. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about SciSam, largely because this is something that we tend to deal with once and forget about. But it is relevant because when you do your upgrade, you are going to have to upgrade SciSam or come up with an approach to using SciSam. Multiple options for controlling the license management, from doing it on a per server basis to a central license server. We manage that is likely to be based upon what kind of agreement you have with Sybase. Just make sure that you include that SciSam with your plans. Make sure SciSam, we can use a SciSam license server. If we're going to use the SciSam license server, everything's going to point to it. Create a license stub in the server and point out to it. Otherwise, we'll have that in a license file in our ASE 15 directory. So, pre-upgrade checklist. 1. Install the most recent version of the OS that's been certified for ASE. This is important. If you're going to be upgrading anyway, let's get this thing out of the box and out of the hat. It may well be that you're running on a version of the OS which is supported for 12.5, but which is not supported for 15. Remember, 15 has been around for a while now. It's been a few years. And as a result, things have taken steps forward, and the 12.5 server that you installed, 7, 8, 9 years ago, you had an older version of the operating system. We'll check disk space. Now, this is not just disk space for the upgrade, because the upgrade might want to make master bigger, might want to make side system procs bigger, might want to make model bigger. This all includes having room to test, dump, and load If you're going to create additional test servers, pick those out. Think about your migration model and testing model